everyone. I'm Jacqueline Coley, the awards editor at Rotten Tomatoes, and it is my honor to welcome to the stage the incredible cast of the episode y'all just watched. First, we have Theo Iyer, star Hannah Leader, star Tig Notaro, Shari Belafonte, Nestor Carbonell, Mark Duplass, Karen Pittman, and our executive producers and stars, Reese Witherspoon and Jennifer Aniston. They're coming. Oh, that worked out. I was very worried that it wouldn't, but y'all are sitting in the perfect spot. Great. Thank you.
We're wearing the same outfit.
I think we are. Blue and black.
Mine's a navy though.
Yeah, blue and black.
Hers is navy.
But y'all look amazing. I'm so glad to be up here because I spent the afternoon with all of you rewatching season 3, and I'm just like, so many iconic lines. And I know you guys have done a couple of conversations before, but it's kind of feel good to be here with an audience and really get to feel that reaction that you guys didn't because the show came out during the strikes. And so I'd love to start with you, Miss Jennifer Aniston. Has there been a particular moment that you were either one, excited for the audience to get to see, or one that you've had? Because I will say, like, I'm unprecedented, like that's a bar. Like that's a bar right there. I'm sure you were living for like, oh, when people see this in that moment, they're gonna live for it too.
That was for episode 1, wasn't it? Yeah, that was journey way back to episode 1, guys. That was fun.
Is there another moment for you that you sort of stands out on season 3 that you loved? I'm gonna ask kind of all of you guys that as far as like what y'all really stand out as far as what you liked about this past season, because it was, like I said, incredible.
Thank you, first of all. I have to say, it was such a strange episode. I think maybe in the last episode where she sort of flips it all, flips the tables. That was sort of fun.
I also will say that moment was great because I will say earlier when Billy's character says to you, you're not ready, I feel that was the moment when she finally became ready. Like Alex took the control, saved the company, and became everything. And that's sort of a theme for this season is women taking agency when agency is trying to be taken away.
Oh yeah, we're done with that.
Let's hope.
I mean, I think across the board on many, drive doesn't work for a while. It just doesn't work anymore.
When did you know that was going to be the theme of season 3, and that we were going to be really exploring like the big beats of Roe and then also women losing agency? When did you know about that, and what were you excited that Alex was going to get to participate in that?
I mean, I think writing our show is always sort of by the skin of our teeth. It's because things are changing in the world, and so we're very topical. So we're sort of, as the world is changing, our show is changing along with it. So it was kind of like watching it in real time, and for all of us, and exciting to see what are we doing, what's going to happen, how is this going to change? But obviously, that's what's so fantastic for us about our show is that we are able to sort of shed light on things that are happening currently in our world, and be able to say everything that that is said behind closed doors that people don't dare say, God forbid, in front of others, dare to be unpopular opinion we were just talking about. But yeah.
I love that too. And Reese, I will say, Bradley always seems to go through it, but Bradley really went through it in season 3. Like,
Didn't she though?
I mean, the brother, January 6th, and I have to resign. I was like, girl, seriously? So it was interesting too to see her in the intersection of, she's so forthright and she's always fighting for what she believes in, but this was the first time where her personal feelings conflicted with her sort of, I would say, activism and what she knows to be right, and seeing her kind of like crossed at that was a really interesting, I think, moment for an actor to kind of watch that arc with her this season. How did you approach that, her sort of like maybe letting herself down a bit this season?
Yeah, I mean, thank you for all of that. It was a really challenging season, but it was so fun to play with these incredible actors, Juliana Margulies and Joe Tippett, who plays my brother, who's just incredible. I thought Charlotte Stout did a great job. She just came onto our show, the showrunner this year. This was her first year, and she just had a whole lot of stakes to everything, a lot of excitement. You know, from her initial idea, I remember, was the hack.
Yes.
And I was like, that's just brilliant. Everybody's concerned about cybersecurity, and of course, networks have secrets that they hold, and it was a way to sort of involve everybody immediately and bring in a sort of mysterious element that journalists are always trying to get to the bottom of. But I will say, like, one of the best and biggest challenges for me this year was that January 6th moment, because our stunt performers were incredible. The choreography of that was like watching any massive fight sequence, plus when you get people in a room where they're supposed to be excited and rioting, it's just terrifying, you know? And where does it cross and where does it cross over? But everybody was super professional, and it was really well choreographed and performed. And then the scene right afterwards with me and Joe was just one of my favorite scenes I've ever done in my whole career. It was just maybe one, and Stacey Passon was our director, and she was amazing, and we did it in like 2 takes and kind of improvised a lot and held each other and cried. And I have a brother that's very similar to Joe, so it felt very like, not in that he was in the insurrection.
That was your other brother that was in the insurrection.
No, that's not what I meant.
I'm with you though.
All I know is I have a brother. That's all I know. Who I'm very close with. So anyway.
But I love that you're able to draw into that, because I think only siblings can have those moments where
Well,
they're
it
like,
also begs the question: would you do something like that for a family member? Like, and it was one of my favorite things to ask at a dinner party during the.
Dilemma.
It's a moral dilemma.
And as a journalist.
As a journalist,
On
yes.
top
What would
of-
you do? Would you sacrifice your integrity? Would you risk your job to save your loved one? And
And get past your own feelings about the participation
yes.
of them in this.
Yeah. So it was great to play as an actor.
yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you, that one, why are you not in West Virginia? I'm like, girl, I'm asking the same thing. Why are you not in West Virginia? I had so much fun rewatching this, y'all have no idea. Miss Karen Pittman, man. I told her this outside, but one of my favorite lines, and there's so many great lines in this season, zoom in until you can see her pores. I was like, say it again, say it again, say it again. That is an incredible moment, not just of television, but that is an incredible moment that a lot of Black women can identify with. Not only being a hand that gets to push on one side of the scales, but more importantly, feeling as fed up as your character felt in this season. I mean, a plantation with dental, another bar. Talk about that for you as an actor, because it's really interesting. It's almost meta in some ways. Like, every Black actress who's dealt with anything, I'm sure, has dealt with some similar situations than what your character Mia is dealing with, having to say this needs to change. But then there's also the sort of incredible moments between like you and Shari, where she's having to hold the line and she doesn't want to. I would just talk to you how interesting it was for you to play that as an actor.
You know, I think the conversation around race in any story is cumbersome. It's difficult. Doesn't matter if it's Charlotte Stout and Joshua Allen who wrote that episode, or if it's August Wilson, or if it's Lorraine Hansberry. It's just a difficult conversation to wrap your hands around a not real construct that we deal with in our society. And as an actor, I have been committed throughout my life to sort of be in the full expression of humanity, to connect in the universality. But in that particular episode, it required to me to tap into something that really required me to get over my own fear and step into a courage space of what it is to really be a Black woman in the world. And it was very odd. It was, I don't know if any actors have experienced that. As a Black actor, I tend to pull back from stories where I have to explore it because I feel like it's so unwieldy. Do you know what I mean? I was happy to have a partner in that conversation with Greta Lee and Nicole Bahari, who I felt handled that conversation so well. I felt like Holland Taylor fell into this very difficult, fragile space that white people sometimes have to inhabit. And she was so supple and tender in those moments that you really wanted not to like, what's her name? What's her character's name?
Sybil.
You wanted not to like Sybil, but then at the end you were like, damn. So bad, but also Sybil. Do you know what I mean? So it was, it took me a while to watch that episode, actually. It took me a few months to watch it. Thomas Carter was the director on it. And it was just, it's this weird, interesting experience as an actor when you have to confront something in your life that is hard to confront do you know what I mean? So I'm still sort of grasping what that episode was and open to anybody sharing their stuff with me at the reception afterwards, but it was hard.
I mean, I'm glad you mentioned that. Well, I'll just say as a viewer, it was awesome. Like, it was one of the most great moments of television that we'll ever get to witness, and all the players that you mentioned are what made it so great, and they agree, right, y'all?
Well, and Nicole is nominated for NAACP award for her work in the show, which is really exciting and well-deserved.
Absolutely. Mark, sir, first of all, I will admit I'm a UT grad, so it's kind of nice to be here with what we call like University of Texas royalty over here.
Yeah, let's start talking about the important issues. Like, the Longhorns. Yeah. Let's do it.
I have to. I gotta lighten it up a little bit, but also because I'm about to say, Unhinged looked really good on Chip this year. It really did, and I will say, knowing you as a filmmaker, but also as an actor and some of the other stuff that you've done, it had to feel really good to just have your broadcast news moment and just sort of like scream about the insanity of that. I'd love for you to talk about that day, because it's a great scene, you know what's gonna happen, but it can go like, it has to play in a delicate place. He has to be shocked by the fact that he's even doing this. This is a man that worked on network news for however long, doing exactly what he knows will be amazing, but also probably career ending. And so like, talk about sort of like, the director on that episode that we just watched, how he sort of set you up for that incredible moment.
Yeah, I mean, the essential tenet that Chip operates from is journalistic integrity. Don't go for sensationalism, do the reporting correctly, and he has to really upend all of that because the sensationalism all around him that's brought in needs to be combated fire with fire. And so it's not in his wheelhouse. And I remember, I've had experiences like that. I remember I came up in the independent film world, right? And it's hugs and friends, and then I got into the studio system as a director, and it was really, really difficult. And I realized at a certain point, I lost my temper, I remember, in a notes meeting, and I'd never do that. And it was only after I lost my temper and I spoke their language that they started respecting me and listening to me. And I really hated that. And I remember when I was doing the scene, I was like, I just need to bring in this feeling of, this is disgusting and I really don't like this, but it works and it is for the greater good, so I'm gonna have to do this right now, which I think is what he's doing. That was my plan. What was interesting was what happened, I was with Nestor and Nicole up there, and we're buds, and we talk very cordially and nice to each other. And after I was done with the first take, I remember them both looking at me just like, I didn't know you had a murderer inside of you. And I think for me, I'm the kind of actor, like, when the emotions come normally, I'm like, I got 2 takes, and then I'm toast. So I'm always telling my directors, I'm like, get it while it's good. We'll get 2 cameras on it, because I'm not going to be able to repeat this. But weirdly, that day, that anger and that thing, it just kept coming. And I talked to my therapist about it afterwards. I was like, this is really interesting. I was like, the other stuff tends to go away. The anger is a limitless well. I haven't unpacked it all yet, but we're going to work on it here tonight together. So.
A room full of actors. That is scary and inspirational, both in the same breath. So I really appreciate you for sharing that. Nestor, you were sitting alongside him in that moment.
It was 20 takes. It was like, shut up. I'm kidding. It was amazing.
I mean, it is amazing. And I was telling him backstage, Nestor is so lovely and all of them are having a great thing backstage. And it's a testament to your acting. And I hope every actor in this room has a moment like this. Because when I see you, the first thing I think, I don't like him. Like, not you, but like the character. Because you say, and it is a very big part of the show, because look, it's supposed to portray America and like the way America wakes up in the morning. And he gives voice to what a lot of people think, even though it enrages me. But talk about that as an acting exercise and how you sort of approach that character with an unforgiving manner. Because that's the only way we still love him at the end of it.
Well, thank you, and thank you for hating me. I have you right where I want you. No, I mean, to me, that's, as an actor, and all of us here in this room know that it's not about being liked. It's about having a point of view. And if you have a strong point of view, and my character's a foil for pretty much every character here and on the show, he's sort of a more conservative point of view, and he's sort of an island unto himself on that show. And that's amazing. It's a gift for an actor to have that, because you're constantly in conflict. You're craving conflict, because even if you don't have too much to do, at the very least you have a strong point of view, and you'll be in some level of conflict. And so that's a gift, and I've had the privilege of playing really nasty people in the past too, and I live for that. I mean, not like I take that home, but but that's what's fun. I mean, we all want to escape into something, hopefully we're not, and so it's been a gift for me.
But it's a delicate thing, because it's not just that he's just insufferable. He's not the villain of every conversation, because even when you're having your moment with Shari, with your character Julia, when they're talking about the hack and the aftermath, and your characters really look at him like, did he just say that? We still are cringing more than we're like wanting to like go to Buckles with him. And I think it's because everyone there is like, I know he probably has a good heart, but his head needs to catch up to it.
But that's, so I'm cringeworthy just in life. So that wasn't acting. No, that was his take on, we had the colloquium on race, and it was his take on it, which is, victimization is basically a detriment. Playing the victim card is disempowering, and why do that to yourself, and why relegate yourself to a charity case, which is essentially what he's saying the DEI movements are in these corporations. It's like, where you're going to be, you're just going to be a quota now? Come on, you're more than that. Our IQ is not determined by the melanin in our skin. That's what he's saying. So.
I mean, he's wrong, but we're going to let him have his point.
Bring it back.
I'm like, you said that at first. Shari Belafonte, listen.
We still love him.
We still love him. Shari, I do want to talk about your character, Julia, too, because when the mutiny is happening, as I like to say, and when they don't know if they're going to wake up to a crew tomorrow, I love how methodical your character is in that moment and how truthful that character is in that moment. And as a woman that knows about your history, I was like, yeah, they definitely gave the Norma Ray moment to Shari Belafonte. That was some pretty ingenious writing, but how was it for you in that? Because look, Julia's there. She's such a huge part of the show, but it is an ensemble. And I really felt in that moment, really got to see so much more of her this season in that. And when she's starting to fight, essentially, against Mia, her normal compatriot, she's having to tell her, no, you're wrong.
But one of my first jobs was working at PBS as a stage manager. I had to count in Washington Weekend Review, all that timing. So this was one of those moments where when I got the part, I went, I can do this. I've actually done this. And I think I'm sort of the silent partner in all of it. Watching them, all of the characters, with the headsets on, I'm hearing a lot of stuff. Even when we're not in our characters, I still have the headsets on, mine are active, because we really do shoot the show like it is a daytime talk show. So all the cameras are live, the ones that are on camera, that are the video ones that are supposed to be shooting the show. So I'm actively working as the stage manager, listening to everything and making sure everything's right. And being able to witness all these characters go through their moments, it's endearing to me, because I really believe all of these people are exactly who they are in the show. And while I don't say a lot, I count a lot, but it's really just gratifying to be in the room with everybody whether they're Mia, whether they're Karen, whether they're Mark, whether, whoever it is, except you. I'd never seen you before. And
He's always with Billy. That's the problem.
That's
Billy.
who are you?
It's Kyle. He's Kyle.
I'm
He's
Kyle.
fabulous.
I'm Kyle. But I believe it. I'm completely glued to what is going on in the script, even though I don't have a lot to say. I really believe that I'm Julia and that I'm kind of running the show. When people said, "What do you do on the show?" I run it. Basically, I run the show. But it's magical being on this set with everybody, with what Charlotte wrote, with what all the writers have written, what all the directors have come up with, and all the nuances. And when I see it, when I'm watching them do their reports, I'm glued. I'm completely fixed in it. When Mark was doing his rant, you're going, whoa. It's just so believable to be able to not have to have a lot of lines and just absorb everything that's going on in the room. So I'm thrilled to be a part of it, and hopefully we'll be a part of it for many, many more years to come. So.
Let's hope so. We gotta have Julia. Tig, you joined in season 3 at the right hand of the devil, I will say. I'm sorry.
Thank you for noticing that I was on the show.
No, it did. Well, listen.
Did you see me?
I saw.
I saw you.
I have to give it up for the casting folks at the morning show, because I've seen a lot of your work from your comedy and In a World and stuff like that. I didn't know you could be this menacing. I didn't know you could be this frightening as sort of the fixer to John Hamm. When were you kind of surprised about this one? Because I felt it was such a great, it shows just this is an ensemble that you will see character actors in completely different looks, and they will murder every second that they get it.
Well, no, I didn't know. I actually didn't even know I was coming off that way necessarily, or that well, because when we do these things, I'm always sitting here listening to the real actors talk and analyze the scenes and all of that, and I'm just sitting there going, wow, I was just trying to get my lines right. I can't tell you much more than that. I mean, I was trying my best, but I wasn't sitting there thinking, oh man, I am nailing this. And people are gonna freak out. In fact, when Jen was like, you are great, whatever you had said, I was like, oh, thanks. No, I didn't believe him. Not at all. I was truly just like, God, I hope I'm doing this all right. And before tonight, I was thinking, really come in there and talk like the other actors. But I can't. Any other questions?
I'll risk just dying on the stage of laughter if I do. You're awesome. That's it. Thank you.
We're all doing our best. We're all doing our best. Just a little peek behind the curtain that nothing's going on.
They're actors. They've done it. They're there. Hannah, sorry, you gotta follow that, Hannah. This is not the first person to hate that you gotta follow.
Terrible.
But I will say there is a little bit of spice that we will add to yours, because Chip I was a little bit shocked by that.
So was I.
Did you? We were all shocked. And
I was shocked.
It felt incestuous. It really did. But
I loved it.
It was so great.
It was so great. Nothing against you, Chip. It's just I saw them differently, and we lived for it when we saw it. But I will say this: your character, as well as Kyle, are often right next to someone as the assistant. You guys are often having to do what I call a lot of non-verbal acting, but have to live for it. But when you're away from your principals is when I find I like you all the best. And one of those great moments was when you were in the control room, when Chip goes unhinged, and they got that great shot on you, and you're just looking at him like, that's my man. I want to talk about the direction of that day, because y'all weren't there in that moment. But that to me is like a preview of season 4 of like, no, she's gonna get him back. Like, this is gonna, like, she is still in love. It's just like, so can you just break down a little bit of where you see the Isabella and Chip of it all? Because y'all went up and down so much in this year.
I don't know if I don't know what I see. I just know in that moment, the idea was like, Charlotte said like, oh, you still love this guy, but like, it's over, but you love him. And what was cool about that day, usually when we're in the control room, we were like looking at blank screens, and it's like, where on the screen does everyone need to look? And they
You're
actually,
emoting to that green X.
yes, yes, and which X? Because like we have different X's, and they played your tape. Like, we actually got to see the performance almost every take, which was so different than usual, and that was really cool because it was an amazing performance and so easy. Because usually it's like, okay, now either someone's off reading the lines that is not the actor. So that was really cool. Yeah, but in terms of Chip and Isabella, I have no idea. We'll see.
We'll see. That's like a pretty good way to put it there on that one. Kyle, sir, I will say, in this moment, seeing you without Billy is a little weird because that's pretty much what I see you with and all the time.
Yeah.
And I don't think you get enough credit for trying to be a sane face next to all of the just insanity that he's trying to do in every moment. Like Corey's like, yes.
Thank you so much.
We just got hacked, but it's awesome. I'm like, sir, no. Nobody thinks that.
Yeah.
But that is a hard thing to do too, because you really are both like a sounding board for him in some scenes, but also just a presence that like
Right.
is hard. Like, you can't break a scene after you seeing some of the stuff that Billy is doing in some of his ones. That's a hard job.
Yeah, I mean, well, I'm grateful to have most of my scenes be with Billy, because he's just, as all of you know, he's incredible to work with and a true artist. And
Yeah, we can give it up for Billy Carter.
yeah, give it up for Billy. But yeah, no, I mean, Kyle I joined the show in season 2, and it was pretty clear that Kyle sort of has this empathetic awareness of what's happening in the world around him. And it's Kyle's responsibility to sort of harbor that, but not get involved in it. But it can be really hard because you have to understand the circumstances of the world. And, especially this season when it gets a lot more chaotic and shit is hitting the fan, and Kyle sees Bradley's sex tape before Billy does, and he has to run in and be like, you need to check your email. I remember the first time I delivered that line, like, I had all of that like, oh my God, I have to go and tell him. And however I delivered that line, Mimi was the director on that episode. She was like, it was great, but we kind of have to and I'm like, but Kyle feels it. Kyle saw it. But a lot of it has to do with just balance and just feeding off of Billy and knowing that, he's so controlled. So kind of give him the alley-oop to kind of like keep it even keel so he doesn't freak out. Yeah, I mean, this season I think that Kyle and Billy had a really great journey. And Billy started to rely on Kyle in some ways that he hasn't before, and gained some trust and made Kyle do a little bit of dirty work. So we'll see what happens.
I think everyone did dirty work this season. Let's be honest. Nobody's hands are clean. This was an incredible season. I lived for it, every bit of it. Before we get out of here, and I want to remind everyone there will be a reception afterwards, so you don't have to just listen to my questions. Y'all can ask a few of your own with some of the cast. Also, though, when we do break, don't rush us. Like, I need y'all to chill, please, because we got to get them out here. But Miss Reese Witherspoon and Miss Jennifer Aniston, as executive producers, I know your heads are full of secrets. Like, y'all at least know a little bit. mic. So I would like
So many.
so many secrets. You
I'm
probably
also an EP this season. And I'm willing to give away secrets. So.
I would like to hear what secrets you have, but I think the folks at Apple would get mad at me if I put that as gospel.
We'll talk at the reception.
Thank you. Sorry. I'm really trying to do my job, and you make
Hard.
it very hard.
We're trying to be on set with her.
Is it like that? Just giggles all the time? That's so not fair. What
Awesome.
If, it is awesome. What, if anything, if you can't tell us what will happen in season 4, there are some moments in history that we're maybe coming up on too that you guys are maybe going to approach, or maybe some themes like, again, women, marginalization. What are you thinking for season 4 where you maybe hope Alex and Bradley get to go?
God.
It's only tough questions at the end. I'm sorry.
I'll take this one.
I wish you would, actually. There's not much we can say.
You're not allowed to say anything, but can you say like a hope or like a maybe?
Well, we
like,
hope it's good.
I mean, I know that.
Yeah, I mean, every year I think we're always sort of like, oh, we have to do it again, but thank God the world won't fail us, because it's going to be fucked up again. And so, thankfully or
That
not.
is so true, because you're like, oh my God, are we gonna have storylines in every single year?
Yeah.
The first year was about sexual harassment and all the networks going down, and then it was about COVID,
Right.
and Roe v. Wade and insurrection. So
A
we just have
hack.
to let life unfold, and then we're gonna have so many storylines.
I knew they weren't going to tell me.
But I know it's going to be good. I know we're going to have fun.
Yes.
We're going to work our asses off.
That's great.
That's all we know.
That is really good. Very last thing, they weren't with us tonight, but there's some incredible cast members, folks like the incredible Greta Lee and John Hamm and Billy and everyone else that couldn't be with us here tonight. Maybe, if I could maybe dare to ask you guys this, is there anybody you would maybe want to try and like draft in, if maybe you could? It's not saying anything, this is an ensemble, y'all always seem to add in like, anybody, yeah, there's always something surprising that could come in, just a wish
I
list.
will say this, there will be some surprise characters joining the show.
There we go.
That I
I'm
can
with
say.
that.
Some, yes.
Okay, Apple was like, shut up. All right, that is it. I want to remind everyone, please keep your seats while we exit the stage, and you all can now exit to the reception. Thank you all for watching.
Thank you guys.
Thank you all.